Thank you, Anant, and everyone on that panel. That was really exciting on a bunch of different levels. One, obviously, was the opportunity that both GE and Microsoft are offering to Massachusetts residents and students to build their skills and to develop pathways for themselves, not only in terms of their career, but also in terms of their education. This idea that you can be taking sort of coursework in sort of bite-sized chunks that are very targeted towards specific skills that are necessary to advance your career, and you can combine them or stack them over time and move them towards a degree or credential that may be of even broader relevance. So the partnerships with community colleges, employers, edX is inspiring in many ways, and hopefully something that we can take further advantage of. I'm also thrilled, Anant, that you can guarantee the doubling of salaries for anyone who completes an edX program. That's just really great. So I want to thank edX and MIT for that gift. So a key theme of today's convening is these sort of close partnerships between employers and educators to create a more highly integrated human capital pipeline and career pathways that are critical to the long-term success of both the individuals and the organizations that they work for, and to the sectors that they are part of. The next panel, which is already here, again, the behavior the behavior pattern that has been set has been being followed perfectly. This is the most compliant group of people I've ever met, especially considering that many of them are coming from higher education. But the next panel will be moderated by my colleague, Commissioner of Higher Education, Santiago, and we'll announce the launch of a competency-based course of study at Northern Essex Community College related to early education to upgrade the skills and stability of the early ed workforce and to create opportunities for career advancement. Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and this is a little bit like speed conferencing, but we're delighted to be here to announce that last year, a project funded through the Department of Higher Education to Middlesex Community College and Northern Essex Community College to come together and do a competency-based pathway in the field of early education and care. And they've done it. They've moved it forward. We're now looking for a phase 2, which will be a consortium of institutions that will come together to further this work. I don't think I need to mention that this is a hugely important labor force in early educators. It is probably the most meaningful one in terms, and I say this from a higher education perspective, in terms of the success of students as they come to our doors. And it is 70,000 individuals strong in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Yet it is among the least credentialed labor force. So we have some colleagues that have joined us that have been promoting this work and moving it forward. So I'm going to introduce them and to ask them a few questions. Let me begin with Dr. Winifred Hagan to my left. She is the department's point person for all of our cross-agency work in the realm of early childhood education. She's the person that I rely on for expertise in this area. So I'm going to start with a question to Winnie. Why does this workforce matter to the economic future of Massachusetts?
Thank you, Commissioner. The early childhood education workforce matters to the economic future of Massachusetts because the early childhood education industry makes a great deal of other work possible in other industries. A lot of employees are able to go to work because of the child care industry. I would hypothesize that any state that develops a first world system of early childhood education will go a long way toward mitigating the economic issues associated with impending demographic declines. Second, the early childhood education industry represents the largest workforce in all of the education sectors, with the added assets of being the most linguistically and racially diverse and the best match in that regard for our youngest citizens. But this workforce has the least education and training and the least access to higher education and professional development. Clearly, a competency-based education pathway for this workforce makes a compelling innovation that addresses a significant problem. This labor pool also matters to the economy because a fairly compensated diverse early childhood workforce will have multiplier effects on the Massachusetts economy. Instead of qualifying for public assistance, many more early educators will be mortgage owning and tax-paying citizens. And this early childhood education industry is comprised of tens of thousands of food, product, and service purchasing small businesses across the Commonwealth. The more commonly cited economic case for a well-qualified workforce in early childhood education is the one about the return on investments in young children themselves. Early childhood is where we have constructed the gaps that we then work to deconstruct along the rest of the pipeline. Yet the only place we find a first world early childhood education in the or system of early childhood education in the United States is in the military. There's no state that has one yet, but Massachusetts could. A statewide competency-based education pathway is a vital component to building such a system for the Massachusetts economy. It is very exciting to see this kind of recognition today for this early childhood education industry and to have an administration that's taking action to move it forward. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Dr. Hagan. Let me now turn to Kim Burns. Dr. Kimberly Burns is the Dean of Academic Innovation at Northern Essex Community College and is the lead on the CBE initiative at our community colleges. And we're very hopeful to see a new proposal coming to the Department of Higher Education, which now has 6 community colleges coming together in this particular CBE initiative. So Kim, tell us about the role of higher education and our community colleges for this sector of the education workforce.
Sure. Thank you for the question, Commissioner. As Winnie mentioned, our largest educator workforce has the lowest percentage of college degrees and the least access to higher education. The latest available data tells us that only 1/3 of early childhood teachers have college degrees in Massachusetts. So think about that. The teachers charged with educating our youngest minds are not all equipped with the academic preparation in child development or the science of early learning. So Massachusetts colleges have been preparing this workforce and are poised to contribute to a coherent credentialing system where teachers are professionally trained and recognized for their expertise in early learning. And the community colleges in particular have been quite nimble in offering higher education to this workforce in ways that are flexible to meet the needs of these busy adults. At the community college, if we're to divide our student population into 2 groups, we have the coming of age students who come to us right from high school and want the full academic experience. And then we have our adult students who are career changers or career accelerators, and they've already had their coming of age experience and want to pursue higher education to advance or change their careers. So Northern Essex is leading the community colleges in development of a competency-based education model intended to meet the needs of these busy students. And this competency-based approach to articulate to employers what they can expect from them. Telling an employer that a student took a course that was 3 credits and they spent 45 hours in the classroom is not transparent enough. Through a competency-based approach, students can articulate exactly what they are able to do with the real-world knowledge that they've gained from a college course. So faculty from Northern Essex and Middlesex colleges have developed online competency-based early childhood education courses that recognize students' prior knowledge, allow for acceleration of their learning, and promote mastery of content. We're looking at a competency-based pathway from the associate's degree to the bachelor's degree with Cambridge College, and we'll also work with 6 other community colleges within the system to design a collaborative model for delivering a flexible competency-based option for this workforce. So our community college early childhood education programs have done yeoman's work for Massachusetts in developing professionals in this field for years now. The innovation of a competency-based pathway promises to build on that prior success, and we fully appreciate the insights of Commissioner Santiago and Chairman Gabrielli in providing the opportunity to build on these strengths, and we thank Secretary Pizer and the Baker administration for underscoring the value of early childhood education, as well as validating the power of our community colleges to be innovators. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Let me now turn to our academic practitioner, Jody Carson. Jody is the Associate Professor in Early Childhood Education, and she's been at the center of this initiative from the outset. I've seen a number of her presentations on the CBE approach. It's quite impressive. So Jody, what do early educators need in order to access learning and professional development opportunities?
Thank you, Commissioner. Early educators need access to high-quality training and professional development that takes into account their busy schedules. They need college-level, early childhood education courses that meet state and national standards for professional preparation, which build on the knowledge they've already gained in the field, and the flexibility required for non-traditional learners. They need access to a path to achieve lead teacher certification through the Massachusetts Department of Early Education and Care, commonly referred to as EEC certification, an important milestone credential on their way to a degree. In addition, affordability of this education is critical. These are the reasons that a competency-based pathway for ECE is necessary. Imagine how many more educators can access high-quality, college-level early education courses when they can work through them anytime, anywhere they need to. Online courses offer this already, but there aren't enough of them and can take years to complete in a traditional college schedule. Our CBE pathway builds upon the idea of anytime, anywhere, and takes it further to personalized learning and completion at an individualized pace. To start, NECC adapted 4 courses which meet the requirements for EEC's lead teacher certification into a CBE format. Each course consists of 4 to 7 competencies which align directly with NAEYC's professional preparation standards and EEC's core competencies. Students must demonstrate mastery of each competencies within a course in order to receive credit for it. They can opt out of some coursework in each module by demonstrating mastery with an authentic assessment. The assessment demonstrates the student not only has knowledge of a competency, but is able to apply it to real-world situations. Throughout the courses, students are able to accelerate as they are ready to and pull back when life requires it. Regardless, they have ongoing personalized support and feedback from faculty. And opportunities for continual improvement to their work. I mentioned affordability as also being critical. We are thankful our educators have access to funding for courses through EEC's Educator and Provider Support Grant and through the legislator's EEC Scholarship, jointly administered by EEC and DHE. Additionally, our EC faculty are actively moving away from traditional, often expensive textbooks and using free, open educational resources through a local and statewide initiative. Development and adoption of these materials will help support access to important information for all early educators. 3 of the CBE courses have no textbook costs already, and future CBE work will build upon this. As we seek to support professional growth in our workforce, CBE seems to offer something we haven't been able to offer in the past: personalized, high-quality, accelerated learning for all.
Thank you. Let's turn now to the employer community, and I'd like to ask Carol Landry, who's the Director of Children's Place at Phillips Academy in Andover, to join us and tell us about your needs as an employer and professional standards for early educators in the child care industry.
Thank you, Commissioner Santiago. The employer need for certified teachers in Massachusetts is critical. There are over 7,000 licensed group care and family-based child care centers in Massachusetts. If we assume an average of 4 classrooms with 2 teachers in each room, then we are looking at the need for over 56,000 certified teachers. As an employer, we can provide the experience, but rely on higher educational institutions to offer the necessary coursework. Thank you. Teamwork. Bright Horizons is a global company that currently employs over 1,300 early childhood professionals in Massachusetts. While the number of applicants increased 5.5% from 2015 to 2016, the number of referrals that recruiters were able to make to our centers decreased by 5%. Why? Because over 10% of the applicant pool were not teacher certified. As a center director, I'm often forced to pass on a candidate because I need certification in the classroom, and many candidates do not have the credentials. That's why a competency-based education pathway in early childhood education from Northern Essex and other community colleges is so important. Employers need certified teachers in the classrooms sooner rather than later. Uncertified individuals need access to educational opportunities in order to advance their careers and to provide optimal education and care to our young children. A competency-based pathway will provide that opportunity for individuals who already have early childhood experience to become certified sooner and are therefore more employable. Having better educated and trained professionals in the classrooms increases the quality of care that Massachusetts child care centers offer our communities. Quality teachers lead to quality programs, which lead to accreditation through the National Association for the Education of Young Children. Northern Essex CBE is an innovative option for individuals who have a natural gift for teaching young children, but don't have a degree in early childhood education. Or maybe they have a degree in a different field, or maybe they're an empty nester or a dual language learner. Competency-based education offers a diverse array of individuals the opportunity to become an important part of our next generation's education. During the first 5 years, children are building 90% of their brain development, and we as parents and early childhood educators have a direct influence on their development and future learning. Giving young children well-trained and educated teachers is vital to their growth and learning. Quality early childhood programs yield an $8 average return for $1 per $1 invested. Quality early learning experiences help young children become agents of their own academic and lifelong success. Families and early childhood educators set this stage, but an untrained and uneducated workforce will never help to deliver on that promise. A competency-based pathway goes a long way to getting Massachusetts employers the trained workforce we need. Thank you.
Thank you to all the panelists. We have broken the record. We're 19 seconds ahead of time. 15,
13,
14,
12, 11.
At any rate, thank you, Mr. Secretary.